Thank you very much for joining me. It's lovely to have everyone here, and also welcome to those of you who are watching the recording. So my name is Damian Nicholson. I'm the National Program Manager at Financial Basics Foundation, and I'm going to be the one running you through the session this afternoon. The session will incorporate a bunch of information on our resources, especially how they can be used in distance learning environments, and also some real life learnings from a course we ran ourselves in January. So without further ado, I will jump into it. I will just ask you, please leave your microphones muted, and if you do have any messages, please put them through in the chat window. And if you give me 2 seconds, I just need to check that everything is functioning properly. All right. Sorry, give me 2 moments. Yep, I think we're good to go. Sorry, Zoom had a little message popping up that I needed to address. Feel free to put your cameras on or leave them off. I'll leave that completely up to you. But again, if you do have any messages, please put them in the chat window. So jumping into it, so that you know a little bit about me and where I'm coming from in this role and in the work that we're going to be covering today, our main focus is going to be on a resource called Cashed Up. And it's been one of my baby projects since I started with FBF. So since I came out of the classroom, which was about 5 years ago now. Before that, I spent just shy of 20 years in Queensland's education system, and I was all around different regional and rural parts of Queensland. And then found myself moving into this role with Financial Basics Foundation because of my passion for financial literacy education. So that's when I'm talking about these resources and you're asking questions, please do feel free to throw teacher speak questions into the chat if you do have any questions you want me to cover, or in the YouTube comments, because that's my wheelhouse and I'm more than happy to address those with you. I'll also make this PowerPoint available if you want it. I'll put it in the link with the video when the recording goes up. The reason I say that is that there is quite a few slides on here that are really just intended as reference if you'd like to call back to anything that I've covered in the session. My main aim is to actually give you a hands-on look at the resources and talk to what we've been doing, how we've been doing it, what teachers have provided us as feedback with what works and what doesn't, and also some like very recent learnings that I had from running the first Cashed Up holiday course with students all over Australia and doing that in a purely online environment with no class contact time at all, which was an interesting experience. So the basic overview, there's 4 parts to what I'm going to cover. I will get through it fairly quickly because I do want to give us time for questions and answers. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat as you have them. I'll do my utmost to answer them as we progress through. But if I do happen to miss any, or if I run out of time to cover them during the session and I don't get to them at the end of the session, I will follow up with you and get those in either in the video or via email, whatever you would prefer. So we're going to look a little bit at financial literacy, so we've all got a shared context. That won't take very long because I know when I'm talking to FBF members, generally people have already coming to us. I'm preaching to the choir who are already passionate about financial literacy education and are looking for ways to integrate it and find high quality resources to integrate it into the curriculum. So I won't belabor the point on financial literacy too much. My main focus is going to be on Cashed Up as the tool for online and digital learning, and also some of our other resources that integrate with it really well as well. Oh, I've already covered the question thing, so I'm going to jump over that one. Anyone who's just joining into the session, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat as we go. A little bit of housekeeping, especially in doing a session with educators. So there's 2 main points here that I need to address really quickly because it's the most frequently asked questions. So we are a charity. We're an independent not-for-profit, and we only work with a small number of sponsors at the moment. You can see in there that Suncorp Bank and Australian Retirement Trust, and we only have a small number of sponsors we work with because we maintain our independence really fiercely, and we maintain all of our own data and databases. And the reason I'm saying that is that it's really important to me that you're aware that you'll never receive emails from our sponsors. You'll never receive emails on behalf of our sponsors. Neither will your students, neither will any parents that come and join our website, neither will any young people who come and look at the young person resources that are independent of their teacher and their school. We take that independence really seriously. The charity's been running for over 20 years, and we know, and I know I sussed this stuff out before I used FBF resources for the first time many years ago with Easy Money version 1, the Easy Money game. That's one of our really popular resources. I sussed all this out about the organization as a teacher because it's part of that due diligence you need to do. So with that said, on our website, there's a bunch of information for teachers and for cybersecurity and IT type people that breaks down everything that I've ever been asked in this role. And I've been through several really intense security reviews with Queensland and New South Wales and WA Education Authority cybersecurity teams. So I'm more than happy to answer anything that you have that I may not have published. Just let me know. But please check it out. It's on our website if you need to dig into the nitty gritty of that. And all of our resources are free, which I will cover repeatedly over the course of this session because there are people who come in and out. If you're watching the recording, apologies if you hear that several times. And those of you who have been here since the start, apologies if you hear it several times as well. So in terms of the penetration we've currently got and the exposure we've got, there's a bit over 12,000 teachers using our resources Australia-wide in just over 2,000 schools. So the reason I mention that is not really about, clapping my hands too much at FBF. It is a wonderful achievement for a very small charity. But the reason I'm mentioning it is that I would love if you take something away from this session, you find something that you can use. My aim is that is what you walk out of here with. You're giving up your time to be here or to watch the recording. I want you to walk away with something that you can use, or even better, that you start clicking around our website and you start investigating resources that I might show you because it's piqued your interest. And if that happens, fantastic. That's what I want you to be able to do. But secondly, please do help spread the word because we don't do marketing. We don't invest our money into the marketing. We invest into the resources. So if you could please help spread the word if there's something good that you find, that's how more people are going to find out about us. And that's what's going to help us secure more funding to make more resources and tackle new initiatives that we want to launch that we got to secure funding for. And again, all our resources are free of charge for all Australian educators and their students. And that extends into, we work with guidance officers and we've worked with youth justice and we work with financial counsellors and community groups and other not-for-profits. So if you think there are organisations that may benefit from what you see here outside of the traditional classroom model, again, I would encourage you to just let them know that we exist and let them investigate it and get them to have a chat with us. But on to what we're here to cover today. So there's a whole range of stuff that is basically just a little checklist there of information that's on our website, resources that are on our website, from printable blackline masters all the way through to the quite in-depth short courses with micro-credentials that we're going to focus in on, which is the latest of our resources that's cached up. And the reason we're focusing on cached up today is that, one, it's brand new, but two, we have really built it from the ground up to work in a whole range of educational environments, including distance education. So if you want it, again, this is just for reference, but they're my contact details and the contact details of the organization. It'll save you a trip to the help desk if you've got education questions. Just shoot them straight to me or message or text or call straight through to me. So in terms of financial literacy, in brief, we treat financial literacy as a life skill at Financial Basics Foundation. So as opposed to it being something that is maybe a little bit abstract, financial literacy is concrete. It is something that, and again, I'm sure I'm talking to people who are already aware of this, whether that's from working with young people, your own experiences, or having children of your own. But financial literacy and managing money is something that young people and us, everyone else, are going to be doing and making decisions with every day of their lives. So we treat it as such when we put our resources together. We don't just go and work to the Australian curriculum, which we do use the Australian curriculum, but we also look at the National Financial Literacy Strategy and research documents. And when we find gaps in those, we commission research ourselves. And any of those research papers are available on our website also. So we take this really seriously and we want to put our resources together so that they work for every Australian, for all of those different diverse populations and socioeconomic statuses. And we've done work and are continuing to do work with things like migrant and refugee populations. And and how we can put resources together that will work around Australia and let teachers cover these concepts in a way that work for all of their students, which is it's a big goal, but it's one we take seriously, and we're doing it, one step at a time. So just to cover one of the key teacher elements at the front end, I already mentioned that we map to the Australian curriculum. So this isn't a curriculum mapping connection session. What I'm going to do is in this session is primarily just point to some of the elements that we connect to in economics and business and mathematics, because they're the two biggest subject areas that we have the most connections with. But with that said, we also have a lot of teachers and schools that are using this in vet and a whole range of other subject areas as well. So, and including probably the third most popular area that our resources get used is in pastoral care and life skills type lessons, where the teachers aren't necessarily looking for the curriculum elements. They're looking for those, point in time financial skills that they want to develop in their students. So please bear with me as I'm not going to, no, bear with me. Please just work with me as I go from slide to slide here, where I'm just essentially doing this as a bit of housekeeping where you can refer back to it if you so desire. But what I've pulled out here is some of the key elements that Cashed Up covers, as do our other resources, but that Cashed Up short courses cover. And I've highlighted some of the key terms in business, economics and business, and mathematics. Again, if you're coming from a state that doesn't use the vanilla Australian curriculum, I know that there's teachers from all over Australia who are in here for this session or watching the recording. You'll note that I haven't put any curriculum elements in there. The reason I haven't put, curriculum codes in there. The reason I haven't put curriculum codes in is that even states that work to the Australian curriculum in almost its purest sense, some still do their own curriculum codes. So what I've done is just pulled some of those elements out and highlighted some of those keywords. So as I move through from economics and business into some of the mathematics ones as well, all I'm asking you really to do is just hopefully some of those keywords are jumping out at you and you're looking at it going, oh yeah, they're things that I'd like to get some resources for. I'm keen to find out more about one or more of those. So, and you'll see that there's a whole range of different financial terms there, from superannuation to taxation to first jobs, to salaries and wages and managing income and budget and spending and all of those things that go into building those skills and those capabilities about managing money. So again, I've just pulled out a few of the keywords for general maths. General maths is one of the most popular areas that have been jumping in on the Cashed Up courses at the moment, especially with the unit that works around financial literacy or financial capability aspects. For those who teach maths, you'll be aware of it in your state or territory, where it looks at a lot of different personal finance elements. So there's so many of our resources that tail into general maths. And then in the essential maths, there's, again, every state and territory has their own version of this, but there's also a lot of those life skills type versions of our resources and the activities that we do, because they are really essential, literally life skills for students to develop. So we have a lot of those things in there as well. So again, this isn't a curriculum mapping session for you. This is really, I just want to skim over it. I want to give you a chance to cast your eyes over some of those bolded keywords, and hopefully some of those have piqued your interest. And I know there's a lot of terms that I haven't mentioned there. You will get a chance to see some of the other topics that we cover as well as we dig into the resources. So with all of those different things that I've mentioned there, all of the ones that I highlighted, we have resources that cover those. And we are also developing more all the time, including with Cashed Up. And I'll give you a little sneak peek at what we're doing with Cashed Up when we jump over to the website and start digging into the resources. So if anyone who's just come in, all of our resources are free for Australian teachers and students, and charities and community groups that are registered charities. The resources are all mapped to the Australian curriculum and the National Financial Literacy Strategy. And in terms of the most common two areas, because interest of space, I just did two on the slide, economics and business and mathematics are the two most common curriculum areas that teachers come into, closely followed by life skills and vet subjects that have a personal finance aspect. So Cashed Up is the main one that we're going to look at today. This is just a screenshot of our website. We will be actually going to the website and digging into these in a little bit more detail. If I'm taking too long to get there and you would like to jump across, if you go to financialbasics.org.au or just Google Financial Basics Foundation, you'll see that in the little educator hub, there's a catalogue of Cashed Up courses. Feel free to jump ahead and have a look at them if you'd like. If you've already seen something that has really grabbed your interest, feel free to go and hit learn more. You could do all of that even if you don't have an account on our website yet. If you do have make a teacher account, you'll need to give me a chance to approve it, because a lot of our resources have solutions and students try and pretend to be teachers to get the solutions or to play the easy money game because their teacher has to grant them access to that, which is a great problem to have. We love that our resources are that popular. So they're the ones that are currently published, and you'll see there's this little white space here on our website, and that's because there's 2 more cashed up courses coming. The next one that you'll get a sneak peek on today is going to be coming in April, is the planned launch date, all going well on the editing process. And then the final one will be coming up later in the year. So what the cashed up courses are, if you haven't done them before or done this sort of course before, they're an online short course, but they're an online short course that you actually get to manage as the classroom teacher. So we've created all the content, we've created all the coursework. I'll show you that. We've put together the badges, and you're actually seeing all 6 of them here. So Build Some Wealth is the next course that's going to pop up, and then Start Adulting is the final one. And the way that these are done is that they cover those Australian curriculum elements. They cover National Financial Literacy Strategy life stages that students are hopefully hitting before they hit high school. Before they leave high school. And they give the teacher a whole range of different management tools as the facilitator of the course to see how the students are going and mark any very small amount of tasks that require a teacher to say whether the student has completed it or not. And I'll show you what those look like. And when I say a small amount, I've delivered one of the courses with over 100 students nationally, and it was exceedingly manageable. And I even went and trimmed the fat further after having run that course. So I am really confident when I say that it is the minimum amount that we get teachers having to do any marking in inverted commas. It's literally you just say whether it's complete or not. But I'll show you that when we actually do the hands-on stuff. And then the bit that makes it slot into distance education, and we actually trialed and piloted cashed up in distance education schools. So I am confident in what I'm saying here. It's not just about me having run one course with quite a few students. It's also the really rigorous piloting program we did. We're really confident that it works in a whole range of different teaching models, because we literally piloted cashed up with thousands of students. So before it got to the point where you guys are seeing it now, it has been through a lot of iterations and hands over a number of years. So when you go and dig into it yourself and you go and bring your particular context and lens to this, I'm really confident you'll see a way that you can use these resources. And I'm hoping that you can also take away my little summary of what worked and what didn't, and what other teachers and piloting schools have told me worked and what didn't. And you can then go and apply that to get the best possible outcome for your students. But yeah, so the first 4 badges, they're the ones that are already up and ready. And then Build Some Wealth is going to come up next month. And then finally Start Adulting is the last of the planned cashed up courses, and it'll come up this year as well. And we're updating these courses all the time, because things like tax tables and superannuation rates, etc., change in the world of finance. So when that happens, we update the appropriate courses too. So very quickly, with a couple of screenshots for reference, because I'm actually going to show you these accounts in the website in real time. But this is just a really quick look at what the learner sees, so they get to see the coursework, they get an overview of the course, they can go into the contents, they complete the work, they complete the tasks, and when they finish, they get this digital micro credential. And what they can do with that is use it like in a normal resume, so it's printable, but it also has all of and I don't know the correct terms, I'm sorry, off the top of my head. The developers have explained them to me, but it has all of the latest technology built into it for one, accessibility. So screen readers, the coursework is designed by the devs to work with most modern screen readers as an accessibility point, but also secondarily, it's built for digital resumes and digital course submission if students decide that they want to use that badge and that micro credential they get from this course. If they would like to use it somewhere, they can actually do it in more modern ways than just printing it out and putting it in a physical resume, which some of us in the older set may be more familiar with doing job applications and resume padding. So that they do get that recognition once they complete the course and they get the badge. So this is just again reference points. These are just a couple little examples of the activities and stuff that they go through in there. I chose this one because one of the benefits of going through such a rigorous piloting program with Cashed Up is we were actually able to get schools to provide some student responses back to us. And we have then turned that into part of the teaching and learning materials that go into the courses. And that's something that, we have the benefit of doing that a lot of places might not. That we have been through this extensive process, and we do have so many decades of goodwill and trust built up as being a reputable financial literacy charity. So this was a year 10 student. I only cleaned up the grammar a little bit. I wanted to keep it real from what the student had put through, and we pepper these sorts of things through the resources and activities as well where they're appropriate. So in this example, this is one of the courses where students are being guided through the process of understanding and then setting SMART goals, and then SMART goals with action plans, so that they can turn some of those dreams into reality. And there's the little digital version of the badge that they can download. And then up here is the information that in the digital version, they can direct people to it, and it gives a thorough breakdown of what was covered in the course and how long, whether the course is the qualification is still valid, and it does all of those things that online courses are supposed to do. And then again, I am jumping through these fairly quickly. I know Cashed Up is our focus, but this is literally a reference. Like, this is a dead screen at the moment. I actually want to run through, when I show you these things, I want to show you these screens in more detail. But for reference, this is what this teacher console looks like. It's simple, it's streamlined, it's very easy. I can tell you from experience, very easy to get to the marked items. It's literally when marking comes in, the LMS, the learning management system, actually prioritizes and brings to the top the items that actually need you to have any kind of input to. The ones that it marks itself, it separates off and tells you that it's already marked those. And then it just brings to the top and go, hey, have a look at this. And I've chosen almost a competency-based model for the way the courses and tasks are done, so that literally all you need to do is say whether it's complete or not. That's it. And then if you choose to offer some explanation and feedback, that's at your discretion. I had to do it when I was running them online. I had to offer students an explanation of, hey, the most common one I got was students would download a research activity and then they'd upload the blank worksheet instead of their completed worksheet. So, sending through their research they'd done on different bank accounts, and whether they're getting the best deal from their current bank. That's not something an LMS can mark, but it's something that, for instance, students would occasionally, about 1% of students, would then upload the blank worksheet. So really easy to go, hey, that's not complete. Reopen it, resubmit the completed task. It deliberately being designed by teachers. I say me, it was myself and my team and our editor that did it, but it was a choice I pushed for very, very heavily. And then, so that this is the marking list and the student progress and whether they've got the badge or not. Again, I'll dig into this more so you can see what's in that teacher console. And then just again for reference and for your info, so on our YouTube channel, there is a teacher guide and a learner guide, and then there's also written versions of this on our website as well. So if you do decide to get into Cashed Up, please take advantage of those guides, because every time a teacher has asked me questions, I've answered them and I put them on there. So take advantage of the fact that learn from other people. Don't feel you have to sort of fumble through yourself. So in coming back and taking a breath here for a little bit and setting to what we're going to focus on and getting towards the hands-on side of things. So in January, I actually ran a version of this course here, the 2025 version of Level Up Your Money Plan. I ran that course as a summer school. So I registered that course myself. I activated it, I set it all up and made myself the teacher, the facilitator, and I ran it and opened it up for students all over Australia. I'm doing that every holiday. So I'll tell you what the next one is. It's already up on our website. If you decide you want to maybe check it out as a student, you'll be able to do that as well by the end of this session. But each school holidays, I'll be doing one of these. So the next one is going to be this one, the Take Charge of Your Spending. But for the summer school, I did Level Up Your Money Plan. We renamed it to Holiday Hustle to stop making it a seasonal thing. So the Easter Holiday Hustle will be doing Cashed Up, Take Charge of Your Spending. For summer school, I ran this course over 3 weeks in January. Got a really good uptake. I had a mix of teachers, parents, and young people taking part in the course. I had a mix of young people that enrolled themselves, sometimes parents that enrolled their students. These are all extra levels of complexity that you don't need to face as a classroom teacher. You literally get your student list and you put them into your course. So I had a few extra things I was juggling with this, but pulling out of this, the what worked if I was going to take it into a classroom, um, the basically the biggest thing that I realized after initially starting this process off is in the young person hub, there's a cashed up learner guide, and there is literally 4 bullet points that I should have gotten them to take into account and action right at the start of the summer school. And it's what I would do in the classroom. I would make sure I did this first. So you as a teacher can enroll your students in the course, but to access them, that's your job. And I'll show you where you can do that. And I'll show you your steps. This is the second step to that. So once you put students in your class list, that essentially gives them access to the course materials. So you can come in here and you add them to your class. And once you finish doing that, they'll be able to access the materials once they make a free account on our website. And for those of you who have already been using our resources and you might be familiar with things like the Easy Money Game, please perk your ears back up if you've gone looking at Cashed Up or other resources. If you've already been using our resources, your students still need to create an account on our website, and a young person account. And that's because Easy Money uses an older game database. It's a separate website, so their Easy Money login does not work for Cashed Up. For Cashed Up, they have to have an account on our website. Once they have their account on that website, it literally instantly pops up in their little portal here when you have enrolled them in the class and given them access. I know I'm jumping a little bit here. I promise this context will make a little bit more when I take you back a step and show you the teacher side of things, but it's just a huge time saver if you take this nothing else away and you decide to use Cashed Up. Just grab these, what worked, what didn't, and what I'd do differently next time. Yeah, Juliana. So if you have been playing Easy Money, you would need to make an account on our website. But if you already have like a teacher account on our website, if you were to go to our website and go on your member portal and you've already got one of these teacher accounts, you're sweet. I will show you that in a little bit more detail when I do the teacher end of things. So yeah, as the teacher, and I've got everything set up, get your students to make sure they follow those first 4 bullet points. Even if they ignore everything else, get them to do that and you'll save yourself a whole lot of headaches. I found that for me, being that purely distance ed, I had no classroom contact. I didn't have scheduled classroom time, even online, to work with students. I just did Q&A sessions. So regular email communication, reminders and prompts were really critical for me. And I would see in my teacher dashboard that each time I set out a relevant communication, I would see more students jump in and would progress further through the course. For your context, that'll be different. Like you'll have different ways that you'll move your students through and be able to, I would suggest, get a higher completion rate. Especially, I was working with teachers and parents who told me from the get-go that they weren't going to do the course all the way through. Some parents just wanted to start it so they could talk with their teenagers. So if I had just had young people and I had sort of a classroom contact or even non-contact online, I'm really confident that that sort of relationship and interaction you have in the classroom or the virtual classroom, I would have had an even higher completion rate. The thing that worked really well for me was making a point of marking tasks complete or incomplete within 48 hours of them coming through, which I know teachers are really busy. Please don't be alarmed by that. The average task took me like less than 30 seconds to complete that with. So, and for some of them, it was literally a press of a button. So I might be done with marking in air quotes, literally ticking complete. I might be done with that in 10 to 12 seconds. So I promise them tasks are not onerous to do. And we've designed it that way, including solutions in the teacher area that I'll show you as well. So even if you don't have expertise in this, we've taken that into account to make it as easy and simple as possible. And we've got the LMS itself marking most of the tasks. I found that it worked really well to do really simple, succinct feedback as opposed to like a verbose explanation. I found that added confusion the first couple of times I did it. So I made my communication on feedback really short and direct. Not short as in rude, but short as in simple. in to the students. And I was also dealing with quite a few students who were English, who'd let me know that English was a second language, and making that communication non-ambiguous and succinct really helped those students. That's feedback from them. The What I think worked was minimizing the amount of tasks that the teacher has to mark. What worked really well as well is that the teacher awards the badge. So like if students smash through and you tick all their tasks complete and they have 100% in the course, they'll get their badge automatically. But sometimes kids might miss one or two questions, and that's just the automatic awarding system. But you have the ability to, at any point, award the student their badge. If you consider they have completed the necessary requirements for you to give them that badge, you give them that badge. And that worked really well for me because I had students that there were just some elements that, they'd put a tick in the wrong box, or they were so close, and I felt that they were close enough that they'd met the requirements for the badge, and so they got it. And I say that knowing that you can make that same call as well. What didn't work was I found that a lot of students whose parents force them into the course, this is the parents' words, those students, I think, spent a lot of time logged in pretending to be busy doing the coursework, but not actually doing anything at all. And so they had very little progress through the course. The students who actually signed up themselves and whose parents had a conversation and engaged them with it, they almost all of them completed the coursework and got the badge. So that, one approach didn't work, one approach did. Different in the classroom, I know, but the reason I mention it is just if you get your students involved, and like anything, if they understand why they're doing it and see the value in it, I think you'll have a smoother time with it, as with anything with young people. What didn't work was not, like I said, not making sure the students did the first 4 bullet points of the learner guide. And I did too many Q&A sessions. So I was actually doing them weekly. I think the course ended up running for 4 or 5 weeks. The only ones that really mattered, that were attended really heavily, was the first one and the last one. So for me, I found that that's something I would change. If I was doing this in the classroom, I would obviously do that differently and be having my lesson plans based around the content and engagement with the students. And the other thing that I would like to mention, and because we just flagged Easy Money, it's not a resource that we're focusing in on this session, but it's one I'll show you where it is, and there's details on it in the PowerPoint. I'd encourage you to check it out for digital and online learning because it's an excellent online game that is tremendously engaging for students. There's over 30-something thousand students play it every year. It's exceptionally popular and it can be done in any environment, including for homework. My plan is to actually leverage it because I didn't figure out how to use it for the January session, the summer school, but in the Easter holidays version, when students are completing the course or getting close to completing the course, I'm actually going to run some sessions with them where I set them up with the Easy Money game, and I actually get them to play the game and put into practice what they're learning in the course. Because the game is a simulator, a financial simulator for an 18-year-old who's managing all of their own finances on their own, from rent to their social life. So I'm actually saying I would use it. I didn't figure out how to do it in January. I definitely will in the future ones this year, and I would really encourage you to check it out. If I was doing this in distance education environment, a more traditional style rather than the way I'm doing the holiday hustle, I'd actually look at using Easy Money as the hook. And the other thing I would use Easy Money for is anyone who's worked with young people, that you have this vast spectrum of shared experience or no shared experience. So having worked in communities where there is generational unemployment and a whole range of other factors in low socioeconomic areas, or populations that have got really different backgrounds and different ways of viewing and managing money, what Easy Money lets you do is it gives a shared context where every student who's played the game with you in the class, if you don't have a shared experience of the Australian financial system that students that can grasp onto, you can use Easy Money as that context and that reference point, as well as being a super engaging resource as well. So it doesn't go in as much depth as Cashed Up does because it is a gamified resource, but it's still mapped to the Australian curriculum, and it gives you this, and I've used it for that sense as well. Like I said, in the places that I've worked, Easy Money was a tremendous equalizer in terms of being able to move financial literacy and capability along. So they're the real life things that worked and didn't work and that I would do differently. The some suggestions that I put together here actually come out of the pilot program. So I'll leave that there for reference, but these are different ways that the teachers have used it. And like I said, it's been done everywhere from, pastoral care, life skills, all the way through to economics of business and vet and mathematics, and different states and territories do their own versions of different subjects where it's been integrated into. It always gets super popular at the end of the semester after the post-assessment period, but I would encourage you to check out some of the suggestions that people have provided me with, because I am out of the classroom in terms of talking to this context. So I've actually picked the brains of our pilot teachers. So I'd encourage you to refer back to that and consider where it might work for you. And if you're interested in checking this out, or you don't know if you're going to have a chance to do this in the short term, please feel free to jump in if you wanted to see what the course looks like as a learner. You can join the Holiday Hustle and I'll be the teacher, which means you can just join it as a learner and check out the resources, check out what it's like. You don't have to invest much time in it because you can literally click through and see what it all looks like, especially if you're coming in knowing you're not going to, you're not aiming to get the badge. Or if you've got students you'd like to point towards it, feel free to give them a link. So it's on our website. It's actually in their little hub. There's a thing in there that tells them about the Holiday Hustle and tells them how to join. And if they take it home, it means they can have that conversation with the parents directly, and they could make that decision themselves. And possibly, depending on the way your state and territory security stuff works, it might save you having to fill out any cybersecurity forms, or I don't know what your state or territory does. I know it should be a simpler process in WA, Queensland, and New South Wales, because the cybersecurity teams have assured me that the details of our cyber assessment are on the intranet, but I can't see those. So if you let people know and they decide to do it with their parents, great, happy days, and hopefully it won't cause you any extra work. So, please ignore that QR code. That was something I was going to do with Easy Money. I mean, you could click on it. It's an Easy Money link, but I thought I deleted that out. So what we're going to have a look at is where stuff is, what it looks like for a teacher, what it looks like for a learner. And we're going to knock the learner over first because it's the quickest way to go. I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but I promise that I hope that it'll all sort of pull together at the end, because it's the way that it's worked when I've done it in PDs in person as well. So for your young people, once they create an account and log in, the course that you put them in, or any teachers enroll them in, will come up immediately. So in their little hub there, underneath Holiday Hustle is the course portal. Everything that they're enrolled in will come up there. The only thing they have to do, honestly, is create an account on our website and use the same email address you enrolled them with. Then their bit is done. Then they hit the dashboard button. That'll bring them up to this, which they just literally hit this big sign in with FBF button. It's a single sign on. It means their details are stored in our website, and then we control that interaction with the learning management system. The learning management system, all the data for that is hosted again in Australia. It's a New Zealand company that we use to keep it all in the region, and it has made it easier for us to manage everything and keep it all in keeping with like data protection and privacy, especially for students. So they hit that and they go and see all the courses that they're enrolled in. If you're someone who does Holiday Hustle, it hasn't started yet, so it'll be in this one called Upcoming Courses. This is my fake student account, so they're not in Holiday Hustle, but they are in this test account. So you're going to get a sneak peek at Build Some Wealth. And for the students, they just literally hit this button to go to the course. They read through the overview, or they can skip over it altogether. But they read through that overview, they hit start the course, and then they start working their way through the course. As they work through the course, anytime they go back to that home screen, their progress ticks up. For this one, and I'll show you that progress tick, it's literally, yep, I understand all of the conditions for the assessment. Bang, I've submitted that. You don't have to mark that. That's got nothing to do with you. The system is going, yep, excellent. You've marked off that task. If they don't do it, they'll get a little prompt to do it before they finish the course. And so they go through all of this. They complete it all off. I'm not going to open this one up because this is still a work in progress, this course. So I haven't proofread the pre-course quiz, so I'm not going to open it up. But they go through, Again, if they hit start, they'll do the pre-course quiz and they do the post-course quiz. So pre and post, you'll have access to all of that as the teacher. Zoom is deciding it'll get in the way. And then they go through the learning materials, and where it's appropriate, there's links out to further information. There's the language for anyone who's reading through it. It's short, it's succinct, it's to the point. Even if we've got a fair bit that we have to cover, we have written this to work for students around a year 9 level. Even if the topics are a bit more advanced, the level we've written to, and this has again been through years of consultation and iteration, that year 9 level works best for our high school students because it's accessible for year 7s and it's accessible for grade 12s, and even a lot of people who do it post school as well. So this is just giving you a really quick look for the learner, and this is where I'm going to stop. They go through the info, then where it's appropriate, they have these tasks. Again, I'm just hitting true to everything here to be submitted task. The system will mark it. For this one, this is where I'll stop. This is the formative assessment. So it says non-assessed here for the LMS, but for teacher speak, this is the formative assessment. So it's not an assessed task. For the summative assessment, it does carry an assessed next to it. And again, it marks it for them. It counts the submission, and then they can keep on moving through, or they can take it again for students who want to get the correct responses. That's what it looks like for the students. And then each time they start the course or go back to it, they'll see where their progress is as well. That's it for them. That's why I did them first. Really easy for your students. For you, where it starts for you is you need to have an educator account on our website. When you're in there, you can go and browse all of these course catalogs. I'm going to do the one that I'm doing for the Holiday Hustle, the Take Charge of Your Spending. Actually, one more thing first before I go back to that. Sorry. You'll see that there's 6 here. What these are basically done is each of the courses stand alone, but they can also be done in sequence, or they can be jumped around all over the place. It's because they've all been done as standalone courses. What they do in terms of the mapping and alignment, Level Up Your Money Plan is designed to fill in gaps in financial literacy education in grade 7 from the Australian curriculum and the National Financial Literacy Strategy, markers that you should be meeting in that age group. Then Take Charge of Your Spending is gaps in grade 8. Get Ready to Work, gaps in grade 9. Start Earning, gaps in grade 10. Then the next 2 that are coming along, grade 11 and grade 12. And in that way, if a student was to do all 6 of those courses in a perfect world before they finish high school, or even, they could do it multiple times because every year we update the content, they would be filling in a lot of gaps in their financial literacy education with, in all honesty, minimal input required from you. You can be as hands-on or as hands-off with this as you like. You can leverage your expertise, or sort of stand back a bit if you don't feel confident in being really hands-on with the students. So you're a teacher which is a really common thing that we find, that doesn't feel super comfortable because it's out of the subject area, or it's not an area you feel confident with in talking about money. You can be as hands-on or as hands-off as you like. We take that into account because we don't want you to have to do hours and hours of PD in order to do this stuff with your students. We want you to be able to pick it up and use it, and then value add whatever you can bring to that course and to your local context. Or if it's something that you can do and just follow the bouncing ball and get students through the course materials and look at the teacher guide and use the suggestions that are in there, those students are still going to come out with a better outcome than someone who doesn't do the course at all. So we want to make it as accessible and as hassle-free for every teacher, and definitely as stress-free for every teacher as we can. And again, anyone who's just coming in, we also do this with a whole range of different charities and community groups in different contexts. So please feel free to let people know we exist. So coming back to learning more. So in the course overview, this is the same thing the kids see once they're enrolled. There's all the details here that you can skim over and look at what those sort of key elements are and topics that are going to be covered in the course. There's summary of learning outcomes that are learning outcomes we have put down. They're not curriculum specific ones. They're ones that we are saying that when a student completes this course, if they get through and they get the badge, they have done and worked through and achieved these elements. And that's what the badge at the end of it confirms as well. And then the extras we have, so we've got educator support resources and curriculum mapping. We've got those in there too. So every course has a curriculum mapping document that goes through all of the curriculum elements that the course connects to. Again, we do as many as we can, but there are so many, for instance, vet courses out there that have different elements that go into these different courses. We had to make a decision not to try and include every single vet course that has connections in there because the document was getting way too bloated and then becomes ungainly to update. So we're just working to the Australian curriculum, which is version 9 as the latest, and then 8.4 when it comes to the mathematics. And then in addition to the mapping, there's also this teacher support document where if we have complementary resources or a solution or a suggestion on how something can be aligned or used, we have information on how to do that and use that in there as well. And we also have as a reference for the teacher the summary of the content and the elements that are in there for the different sections and subsections for the students. And this is not a typo. The sections always have a plan, and there's 2 subsections. But these are the sections of the course. So it reflects and matches up what's in iQualify, what's in the LMS. And yeah, and then it gets broken down. And when there's a solution that we think the teacher might like to have, for instance, that you may not be super confident with this content, but you're having students asking you questions and wanting help potentially with a task, we're giving you the solution so that you have the ability to do that without, again, trying to upskill yourself tremendously. You can help those students get that task and understand the different elements that are in there, in addition to, what's included in the LMS as well. So we have that, and like I already mentioned, each of them, every course has the elements, the curriculum elements and mapping also. So that is all there for you. These are the value adds, like these are all the extras you got that we want to make it as usable as what we can for you. And then from a practical standpoint, there's actually on our YouTube channel really detailed videos of how to go about answering a whole bunch of questions on Cashed Up, but literally step by step how to create a course if you forget any of this. And it's also, if you prefer a written format, it's in your Educator Hub. Create an account, and you'll see there that you have access to the teacher guide and the learner guide. So don't expect you to remember everything from this really short little condensed PD. And I'm just seeing that we've run a little bit over. I am sorry. The next section will actually go quite quickly. And again, if you've got any questions, throw them in because I will definitely be making time to answer them. So that was the student one. So for you as a teacher, all you need to do to create and activate a course and then set it up to enroll your students is if I go here and go, what is it, 31st? I'm using a name that's really easy for me to go back to because I might do 10 of these. At the end of last year, I had about 20 different courses I'd done for various different things. So I want to make sure the name is really clear. This is the PD for Cashed Up. You guys, I'm just going to go year 12. We can all be commerce. This is learners complete in their own time, and you're not actually going to be enrolled, but this is to show you the process. So I just fill out those fields. I hit activate the course. When that happens, it creates that course activation for me. If I want to do more, I can just hit that and it'll pop back up and I can create another one. So from there, I can go to the teacher dashboard, but that's really just to honestly, all this is for is to let you know you've successfully created your class. Then from here, you've got your course management portal, which is where you would go to in the regular course of events, because each time you want a central spot to go back to each time you want to do something with this course. You don't want to be constantly having to go and figure out, hang on, which course do I do, and going through the catalog. The catalog's just there for you to set up your course. And then from there, you go under your teacher dashboard. It'll either ask you like the kids get sign in with FBF, or it'll just bring you straight across into the courseware, and you add your learners in. So literally put their email address in, or you can do a bulk upload. Again, step by step in the YouTube videos and on our website. But to show you one that's actually, there's no one in here at the moment. But to show you one with a bit of stuff in it, you can manage all your learners. You can then do marking as it comes up. So as you have tasks that are due to be marked that actually require your input, that number will change and you literally hit mark and it'll give you the little interface to mark it. But otherwise, if you don't have any tasks there to mark, that means that the LMS, the learning management system, has actually marked them for you, and you don't have anything that you need to do. You can just scroll through, you can look at your student progress. So for this student here, this is one that we tested out. So Alex, in my consideration, did everything she required to get the badge. I awarded that manually. In some of these other courses, our testers have gotten 100%, but you can also award them and then go, oh, I did that by accident. And if I hit that badge, it would take it away as well. So you have absolute control over looking through all your student progress. You can dig into the data that's in here as much as you would like. You can see the tasks that they haven't completed yet. Excuse me. You can do so much. There is so much rich data in this portal, or you can literally just go, have I got any tasks to mark them, and move on. There is so much that you can do that is really up to you to have a look around and then look at the, again, in the time that we've got, digging into the nitty gritty of it is a bit beyond me. But I would encourage you, if you're doing this, to take 2 minutes to look at those sections of the YouTube video so that you can see what's available to you and then decide what you want to do. The only other element that I'll add, so aside from how easy it is to add learners, and the instant you add them to the course, so for all of these guys, these are all our internal ones, but for all of these guys, the instant I added them, when they log in using that email address to the account they made on the FBF website, that course will appear immediately. Like, it's instant. And then the other thing you can do if you're team teaching, or if you maybe know who a relief teacher is you're going to get and you want to get them set up, is you can add other facilitators to the course. So you can add other teachers to the course. You'll still remain the main person because you created the course, but you can add other teachers in there as well. So that's another element you have too that gets used a lot. There's a couple of schools that have, when they've done this, instead of getting teachers to do their own just individual registrations, heads of departments or heads of school have created this, and they've got 100+ students all in the one course, and they've got multiple teachers added in. That's working for them because each of the teachers knows who their students are, and so when the little submission thing comes through with which student has submitted which task, they can go and do the feedback, or they split the feedback up by whoever's available. They've got internal processes to manage that. That would be something I'd encourage you just to keep in mind and check out. But yeah, in terms of doing this with the registrations, it's really that simple. You fill in the info, then you hit the dashboard, you put your students in, and then you manage that behavior and that progress as you see fit. And you can see, and you'll be able to see tons of information on them, their progress, how far they're going through the courses. You can filter by a whole range of different elements to look at your students and their progress. Thank you very much. I just saw the message come through. I know I have run a little bit over, and we are nearly done. Thank you everyone who has stayed that little bit of extra overtime. That's the cashed up. That's the sort of the curriculum mapping, the teacher speak side of things, and the use case side of things. The other thing that, just to let you know that they exist, we have on our website also these MoneyIQ videos, and they're embedded in the cashed up resources too. And these are little 3D animated characters we did with the Brisbane Animation Studio that have literally come from years of receiving student questions and going and answering the most common ones that students have done in groups and themes. So as silly as it might sound, one of the most common things we got asked was about understanding bank accounts, opening bank accounts, managing bank accounts, choosing bank accounts. So the first series of these that we did were about banking and bank accounts. The next series that we did is about earning, getting a job, reading pay slips. That was the second most common thing. And then there's other things we've been asked about, buying a first car, moving out of home. So we're working towards doing more of these videos too. So if you're looking for something really short and sharp, please check those out. They're great little bits of info that, as we all know, students will often absorb and look at these little things way more if they're on a YouTube video or some other format, as opposed to a teacher telling them literally the exact same information, and probably in more detail than what these guys can do in 2 minutes. But yeah, this is Mon and her little friend IQ, who's the little AI that helps her out. They've been built from the ground up through the Australian curriculum to answer, using Australian curriculum rigor, but answering kids' questions. And then other stuff on our website, there's MoneyIQ. There's the Easy Money game, which I'm just going to quickly show you is that there's simulators. So it's just app-centric. It's a wall garden. You register the class just like with Cashed Up, but it's a separate database. The kids you give them a link, the kids enroll themselves. Again, on our YouTube channel, there's student guide and teacher guide for Easy Money, and there's a written student guide and teacher guide. But I would encourage you to check it out because it dovetails so well with Cashed Up, especially if you have the ability to use it as a hook. That was the most common thing we had in the pilot program because all of our pilot schools were existing FBF members and most of them were using Easy Money and they organically gravitated towards it. Use Easy Money, hook the kids in, then move into Cashed Up and have this commonality of experience and build on the earning, saving, spending, and investing principles in way more depth. So I'm skimming through just to show you the game, but it's again mapped to the Australian curriculum. There's two different versions. Check it out on our website. I'd really encourage you to have a look. And I already showed you the guides. There's a summary slide about registering classes. There's that same table I did for Cashed Up that is based on, this is my experience. So I was using Cashed Up for two different versions of Cashed Up for 15 years before I came into this role. I've been an FBF user for a long time before I was an FBF employee. So there's a summary there of different ways to suggest using Cashed Up. Using Easy Money as well as Cashed Up. And that is where I will pull up to see if there's any questions to come in. Please throw them in the chat. And then I will just do the common frequently asked ones, and that's where we'll pull the pin. All right, I used Easy Money to teach the concepts in a fun way. Would you recommend Cashed Up first, then Easy Money, or Easy Money, then Cashed Up? I would recommend, if it was me, I would do Easy Money and then Cashed Up. And then if I could, I would circle back to Easy Money again. Like in a perfect flow, that's how I would tackle it. Simply because, and this could also be because of the nature of the schools I was working in. For me, getting that hook and getting that engagement was the most critical thing I could do. So in my context, the hook element was just imperative with Easy Money. And I would take that if I was in those schools again, I would do it the same way. I do know in our pilot schools and different teachers with different groups of students, they did do it the other way. So they had their students where they quite happily jumped into Cashed Up, did the coursework, got the badges, and then the teacher, and this is schools that are running it right now, and then the teacher would get the students to move on to Easy Money, say if they were faster than their classmates and they got the badge, they would then move into Easy Money. Or the class would have like an endpoint and then everyone would start Easy Money together and they would go and take what they learned in the course into Easy Money. Both approaches work. But yeah, if it was me, I'd actually do both because I've seen how hooked kids get into Easy Money and they want to keep coming back and playing it. And yeah, check out the Easy Money video on our YouTube as well. It gives you like a summary of the teacher speak specifically around Easy Money. For anyone who's interested in digging into it more, there's some really detailed teacher stuff in there as well. And thank you for the kind words. I hope it encourages a few more people to check it out. I've already been through the different resources that are on the website. Very quickly, all our resources are available year round. We do a version of Easy Money with cash prizes in term 3. So keep an eye on your emails if you do try out Easy Money and you really want to try out the cash prize version. But all the other resources are available year round. They do have a small downtime for maintenance, but we do that when every school in Australia is on Christmas holidays. And when we're doing that, I tend to be running a holiday hustle. Everything's free. You as a teacher access the resources by logging in with a teacher account. So create a free teacher account, log in, you get access to everything. Just give us a chance to approve your account because we just have to check the email address and a couple other details to make sure you're not a student. There's a whole bunch of other resources coming. There's more MoneyIQ videos. There's 2 more Cashed Up courses. And after we finish with Cashed Up, we've got other courses that we're going to be working on as well. So we're very much about trying to, holistically create the best suite of resources we can and put them in the hands of you guys for free. So to revisit, if they're doing Cashed Up, students need a free young person login. If they're doing Easy Money, they have a completely separate login on the Easy Money game server. I long-term want to fix that, but it's expensive and don't have the funds for it just yet. My boss keeps informing me. So as soon as we are able to, I will be pushing to move Easy Money over to a single sign-on, but we're not there yet. So yeah, Easy Money, log into the Easy Money game server, cashed up, log into the FBF website. And like I said, you enroll the kids, they will pop up immediately. If you're not getting our emails, there's the email addresses to ask your IT team to add to the safe list, and that'll help students do their own password resets too. There's our website, which we've visited several times. I'd encourage you to check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you want to know when the new videos come out, just hit the notifications. I know we didn't focus on Easy Money, but it takes 2 to 3 hours to play each game through. Check out the video for really in-depth answers. Yeah, we're not really here to do that. There's a lot of Easy Money frequently asked questions I put in there for reference. The main two that we covered today was Cashed Up and a little bit of Easy Money. I'd encourage you please to check those out. I hope that you're able to take something out of today's session. Like I said, you'll have my contact details very soon. That's how you get access to all the resources. Please do check us out. Reach out to me if you need me. Reach out to me direct. Save yourself a trip to the help desk, like I was saying at the beginning, for anyone who's just coming in or has skipped through the recording to kind of jump to this section. Please do check out the resources, make an account, dig through, see what will work for you, see what won't. Look through the Cashed Up course catalog to see which courses might be of most interest to you, and check them out. The only other thing I would add is that if you want to look at Cashed Up as a student, you can't be the teacher and a student in the same class, just like in a real classroom. So use another email address and make yourself a young person or a parent account on our website. And you can use that account to, if you want to do a test run and, you be the teacher, and then you also have yourself as a student in your class. You just need 2 different logins on our website. It's literally what I do here. So on Chrome, I'm logged in as a teacher, and on Firefox, I was logged in as a young person. So you are more than able to do that if you want to check it out and get your head right around how the 2 systems work before doing it with your students. But if you want to get through that a little bit faster and you want a more video-centric or written-centric, those details are shown in the teacher guide and the learner guide, and there's actually screenshots and video of what it looks like for teachers and students if you want to jump in and do it that way. Or if you want to go and look at the the learner guide and the teacher guide on our website. But we've run 17 minutes over, and there's still a bunch of you sitting here, and I see some names that have actually been there from the start. So I am noting a question coming. I'm just going to read this for a second because it's been sent to me privately. All right. I won't mention a name. The person who sent me through the request, I'll answer it generically. So if you end up changing schools and you're not sure how to get your update yourself so that you are in the correct school for the profile. So in your teacher account, it should just let you come in here, put in your password, start typing a new school name, and then selecting your new school name from the drop-down. And then once you confirm your password, then hit update and submit. If you try that and it doesn't let you update to your new school, can you please email me, and I'll put you in contact with the person in our organization who will be able to fix that up for you. The person who messaged me privately, if you can just stay in the chat for about 30 seconds, I'll actually send that info to you direct. But yeah, if you do strike that, we get about 1% of teachers where, for whatever reason, the tech goblins don't let the school update. We have a process where there's someone in our organization who does this all the time. She manages the member database, and she will get you sorted with your school. The other part to that, though, is the one bit I will mention is once you're in the system, you can't change your email address because that's your unique identifier with us. Alex in the FBF team can work you through how to get around that, but I'll just need to let her work with you to get that sorted. But we will wrap up there. Like I said, if the person who messaged me directly, if you can just hang on for a moment, I'll send you that information in a chat message. But for everybody else, I'm going to stop the screen share there. I'm going to turn my camera off. I thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that your interest in the resources. I hope you can find something to take away and use. Feel free to reach out and contact me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And otherwise, happy exploring our resources. If you're brand new, I'm glad you've come along and I hope you take something out of it. And if this has worked for you and you've gained some benefit, please do let people know that we exist. But for now, thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for the next one and for the next resources. And maybe I'll see you in the holiday hustle.